tried to avoid mine.
I got into that position one time and I didn't like, I knew right away it was not the right thing.
It's never set me.
Scott, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. All right, I think we're about almost ready here. All right, welcome everybody to the Board of Works meeting today. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We'll let the minutes reflect that Board of Works member George Clemens is absent today.
Oh, he is.
It will just be the two of us. You didn't notice? And any vote will require both votes for action. So, all right. Let's start with the approval of the minutes from October 2nd. Those were presented. I did have a chance to look through and didn't see anything.
I move to approve.
I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Welcome to all of our visitors. Councilman Fresh, good to see you here. All right. All department heads and representatives. Jack, good to see you. No reports, oral or written. No unfinished business, so let's jump right into new business. Item 1 is a permission to apply for a K-21 grant from the Parks Department, and Sheila will present that.
Good morning.
Hi.
Let me start over. In the 5-year master plan for the Parks Department, it was written to move the Mantis Skate Park from the Boggs west side of town to the Richardson Du Bois area on Market Street along the Greenway and the expanded side path there for better accessibility to that area. So I have been working frivolously on trying to get that plan together. American Ramp Company, which is who originally put in the skate park in 2008 and 2010, put together a plan for us. So we now have a comprehensive plan in place, and next comes trying to find the funding. The existing skate park area out in Boggs, there is a plan. There's been concern about what will happen to that ground once the skate park is moved. That will be redeveloped for some sort of outdoor recreational use. At this point, that's still open for discussion, but it will be redeveloped in some way. There was also concern when we first started talking about this, about the usership of the children or patrons in the west side, taking something from the west side that they're using. We ran the numbers from 2019. We didn't do 2020 because 2020 has just been a mess as far as usership of the parks altogether. But we did look at the 2019 numbers, and there were 7 patrons, mostly in the preteen age group, that used the park one time. One of those 7 used it almost daily, so it would affect one person from that area who was actively walking, to that park by moving it over to the Market Street area. So with all that being said, now we are looking to funding. I have plans to apply for the DNR Land and Water Conservation Act grant in June. However, to apply for that, it is a matching grant, and I have to have my match in place. So my first step is to try and find the other parts of that match before we can move forward to that June grant. This is the first step in that. I would like to apply to the K-21 Foundation for a grant in the amount of $150,000 to be used to relocate and renovate Mantis Skate Park.
All right. Questions?
I move to accept the request.
Okay, I'll second that. The only thing I want to say is I appreciate you looking into negative impact of moving that park on those residents on that side of town. And I know, Sheila, you and I talked, there will be plans to potentially repurpose that space for recreational needs.
Yes.
I know it's out by Boggs, and it'd be nice to maybe have a facility there for the kids that are out there watching their big brothers play baseball, and sisters, I suppose. So I know you're not ready for that yet,
Right.
but certainly that, I assume, is part of the.
It is on the
plan.
radar, yes.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that, so. So with that being said, I'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 2. Justin, this is pay app number 18 for the Lincoln Elementary Sidewalk Project. It's a small amount for professional services of $973.
Yes, this is still for preliminary engineering, so just pay up 18 for that project.
I move to accept.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Jeremy, I assume you're going to permit or present the change order for the Airport Industrial Sewer Park.
Yes, you have change order number 6. This was an oversight on HRP that resulted in an increase of $9,800 from some additional taps. It should have been a part of the last change order that was done for materials, but they omitted it from their request with the previous change order. So they have requested this change order number 6 in the amount of $9,800. It'll come from Northern TIF funds and was presented to the Redevelopment Commission and approved at their October meeting.
All right? Questions?
No, I move to approve.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And then Jeremy, also, this would just be a pay app for the sewer.
Yes,
Appears
this
to be
is
the
the
final.
final pay application number 16 in the amount of $329,119.20. And this will conclude the Airport Industrial Sewer Project. This was presented and approved by Redevelopment Commission at their October meeting as well.
Questions?
Now, Jeremy, I see $328,119.20.
Yes.
328.
Yes.
I move to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Jeremy, I appreciate all the work you've done on this project. This was certainly the city's end of the bargain when we went out and did the annexation. I know there were a lot of folks that were very interested in getting this done. This was the reason they supported that involuntary annexation, if you will. And this is getting it done and closing it out is gratifying. The next step is now to watch the growth out in that park, the return on investment of what we've done. And you were in no small part a huge asset to get this done. So I appreciate your hard work on this.
Yeah, it's been a great project, and HRP did a quick job of it. I think they finished 3 or 4 months before they could have had longer.
Deadline.
They did a good job of getting it done. We have a number, probably close to a dozen, some people that are already applying to get connected. I think there's about 60 plus some connections that'll be made over the next couple months. So excited to see it done. Excited to provide this service to those out there that desperately needed it for their growth. So.
Yes, that was certainly an underserved area, so as far as infrastructure and the sewer. So thank you again. That's just closing it out and voting on it. There needs to be a little more fanfare. Maybe not confetti for a sewer project, but at least the recognition due you for getting that done. So, all right, now down to Buffalo Street, another pay app.
Yes, this is pay app 6 in the amount of $137,135.73. And this money is still coming out of the regional cities grant account at this point. We received $1.6 million, 1.615 million as part of that grant, which is paying for a large portion of the plaza improvements. The work is continuing. There have been some issues and delays with materials. That's going to kick the project back to probably the end of January before it's complete, but we keep working with the contractor, and hopefully come January it'll be completed.
Yeah, I've been down there the last few days. There's a lot of concrete that's been poured and stamped. It's really taking shape. I think they're going to start the pavers soon.
Yeah,
They've put the infrastructure in for the fountain, the interactive fountain, Castaldi fountain, if you will. So that work is, I think they're talking about pouring the cement on that early next week.
yeah, everything will be done except for the pavilion, and then
The wooden portion.
boardwalk. The wooden portion, yeah, the pavilion and the boardwalk. Because of material issues, we've had to change some materials because there was a delay that was going to push us out 6 months to get the material. So we've changed the product in terms of what we're using, and hopefully it'll have a shorter time frame, but it's still, I believe, like 8 weeks before the time from the place order to get it. So materials have been an issue in terms of supply in the last few months.
Yep, and we're rolling with that, but again, it's good to see some action down there and some above-ground work, that it's really taking shape and it looks nice,
And I
so.
believe the art piece is still set to be placed yet this year as well.
Yeah, Justin, go ahead and address that. That's a good point. Thanks, Jeremy.
So we've been working with a sculptor out of New York for the art piece that was donated for the project. So we're still looking at around Thanksgiving for that install. Obviously with COVID and different flare-ups of the pandemic, nothing is certain this year, but we're still shooting for November for that install. So.
Great, thank you very much. And that'll certainly give some great definition to the park, that's for sure, the plaza. So, anything else, Jeremy?
That's it.
Questions? Jeff?
No, I move to approve.
I would second that. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. Item 6, Chief Whitaker. This is a request to enter into a contract with Lexipol, and I'm going to have Chief talk about this project.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, as stated in the letter that we're requesting, the police department's requesting approval to enter into an agreement with Lexipol. It's relatively extensive. It's a law enforcement policy manual and daily policy training bulletins, supplemental publication services. Basically, Warsaw PD's policies have been in place for, I think in 2012, maybe was the last time we updated it officially. We have been in the process of updating through the HR office and internally for a period of time. And in the midst of trying to go digital with our policy and procedure, we learned of Lexipol. And it just so happens that once we started researching, this particular company is a national company, but it's used by a number of law enforcement agencies, especially in Indiana as well. But Syracuse PD is currently using this company. The Sheriff's Department just started this year, are in the process of creating policies with this company. But what this company has to offer is the legal and content development with their teams to sit down with us administratively and with our personnel to develop policies and procedures, tweaking what we have already in existence, and basically, again, using legal and content. This company bases their policies on state and federal laws and regulations, as well as best practices across America. And these, obviously, best practices oftentimes will change. This company will send us updates whenever there's a change to a policy or a recommended change to a policy. We'd have to approve that, and then we'd be able to forward that on to our staff. They would then have to show that, that they actually had approved, or not approved, but had been made aware of the policy change. And to go into, that's the company itself, and But, you know, and I told you we've been working on policies for a period of time. Policies are always changing. You know, some departments have more policies than others. I mean, we probably have a lot more policies in Syracuse just because we're a larger entity. I mean, we've got the K-9 program. There's a lot of policies that carry with it liability protections and obviously specifics to training and what's required, obviously, of our officers. But, you know, we're extremely excited about the possibility of working with this team. This doesn't go without saying that the mayor and I have been having discussion about policies for the greater part of 2020. And we've had numerous conversations about policies, and this will give us an opportunity to have ours reviewed and looked at by you know, a national team. Again, and I feel very comfortable with our policies, but I also feel really good about the opportunity to make some changes as needed and perhaps develop new policies and maybe even disregard some current ones we have in place. The amount of this was $29,851. Now this includes the initial setup fee, which is a one-time fee, and then the annual subscription. The HR, Jennifer has graciously given us or designated $10,000 to go toward this for 2020. But the total is $29,851, so $19,851 would come out of the 2020 police budget. And we do believe that the budget will support it for this year. And with that, we will not have to make any further purchases in 2021. And I'll be able to place the rest of the annual subscription, which is in the amount of $12,105.70 in the 2022 budget and moving forward. And obviously, the reason for the subscription, again, is for the updates as laws and best practices change across America and the state of Indiana. Any questions?
No, this is really an important project for the city. We've been looking at, I mean, it's timely, obviously, that we've been looking to do this anyway, but with the events of this past year, with some of the tragic things that have happened revolving around policing, bringing someone in with outside eyes to look at our policies, to help us not only look at updated rules and regs and laws and court decisions, but also that evolving best practices and underline the word evolving. I think this gives Chief a chance to sit down and comb through every policy and look at it as, most importantly, how it relates to our community and how it relates to his department, our department, but more importantly, how it relates to some of the changes that most likely will be occurring over the next few years. It'll at least keep us aware of that. It'll make our policies, I will feel very comfortable that there is a separate set of eyes on our policies that are presenting for our final approval any changes that we make. But this is important, and I appreciate the fact that we're going to have help with this. It's a daunting task to go through your policies. I think it's pretty easy to sit down and look at your own policies and potentially overlook something that maybe shouldn't be overlooked. And this way, you know, we get presented with, again, best practices and the most current policies that are court and legislatively mandated, and it allows us to make those decisions on the final workings of our policy, but with all the information available. So very happy that Chief has found this company. It looks like that, I think, for a pretty reasonable fee. He will sit down and work with them, then go through with his department and look at these things, and then I'm sure those policies will come to this Board of Works for final approval. So it makes it transparent, and it also makes it, I think, as comprehensive of a review as we can have. So Jennifer, I know that you're involved not only in policy making for PD, but for the rest of the departments. Any comments on what we're going through here?
Right, so, actually, our liability company recommended this. They were very excited to hear that we were gonna use this Lexapro, and they actually gave a discount to the city because of that support as well. And it's time, like you said, with fresh eyeballs on something, and I think it's gonna.
Outside eyeballs.
Absolutely, and I really like the idea that it's going to be accessible online, so that officers can get in there and look at those changes and have that with them 24/7, instead of having to go back to flip through a manual book, so.
So it's certainly an update in how it'll be accessible to them.
Yes.
Yeah, and we didn't really even talk about that, but it'll be digitized, and then the updates will be
Correct.
much more.
Right, and I'm excited about it because we're going to be able to blend our personnel policy handbook, vacation, sick, things like that, with this system as well. So effectively, they'll only have one manual to refer to instead of 3 or 4. So it's a good thing.
Thanks, Jennifer. Questions, Jeff?
No, I appreciate everybody's comments and sharing. Anything from legal? Scott, any comments that you would have to add, publicly? I don't know, I'm just wondering.
No, Chief Whitaker and Jennifer sent this over to me a couple weeks ago, and we reviewed it, and it looks like a good thing to do.
Okay.
I think having updated policies, and it looks like a savings as well, both for the insurance liability and pretty reasonable price for what they're doing. So, I think like the mayor said, certainly in 2020, they need to have policies that are updated and followed, and that everybody's aware of and has them at their fingertips. That will make the human resource side a lot easier if there's ever questions about enforcing policies. It's a good thing.
Well, I think the fact that our liability insurance carrier is willing to give us a discount tells that from the risk management standpoint that this makes a ton of sense. So, all right.
You do? Any
Yeah.
other comments? Okay. Again, I appreciate it. I move to accept the request.
I will heartily second this request. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. And then along with dealing with Lexapro, Chief has became made aware of another service they offer that could open up our training as a very new resource, a virtual resource for training that would save us lots and lots of money on training that's mandated for our officers by the state. So, Chief?
Yes, so when I was first introduced to Lexipol, the first virtual conference we had, we were discussing Lexipol Police One Academy, which does offer ILEA-approved online training courses. But there is just an abundance of training opportunities for our officers, our staff members, at a cost that's very reasonable. Some of the online training that we've seen made available to us has been anywhere from $100 to $250 per course, and these are basically webinars, and there's really no way to track that training. This gives us an opportunity. Well, for one, it will eventually coincide and coexist with Lexipol, the policy software. They're in the process of actually combining them. There are two companies that are now becoming one. But with this training, this gives the officers the opportunity to be assigned specific training. It could be remedial training. It could be just an area of specialty that they're wanting to pursue. It could be just a number of different training opportunities at no additional cost. And if you factor that out, the cost of 40 officers for $2,500 a year, it's very inexpensive. And to have the opportunity to have some of this be ILEA mandated training is just a bonus, and what this is going to provide our department. It even has the ability for our own instructors. We have a lot of instructors that do a lot of great training. Our officers are highly skilled and highly trained. This is just going to be one more facet, one more tool that we can use to keep that going. But we can actually take their training and put it into this system And when an officer gets in and watches that course, at the end of that course, there may be a quiz or something to that effect, and it shows that it's successfully completed, and then they get credit for that course. So our training coordinator, Gordon Allen, is excited about this as well. Just another tool for our department to continue with the training.
Chief, I know in my other profession, our continuing education requirements, mandated requirements, right now have some limits to what they will allow virtually. Have you looked into that? Is there any restriction on these state mandated requirements coming from a virtual source?
Well, not all of the ILEA approved or training courses are going to be provided by this, correct? I mean, we still are going to have to have firearms, we're still going to have to have, defensive tactics, we're still going to have, now some of them can, emergency vehicle operations will still allow you to do virtual, but, we're going to be real about it, and we're still going to be doing hands-on training in all these facets. But, again, there are so many courses that, so many specific hours that are required that maybe aren't specific training. And this will offer, each year an officer can take a different, look into different courses. But instead of doing the 24, our officers may end up with 50, 60,
right,
hours of training that are going to be ILA credit certified. It's just going to be that much more training that they have, in their file.
But ILEA does allow for virtual credits.
Correct. They do. They do.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, fair enough. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I move to accept.
All right, I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Chief, thank you. I think that's a great find, to a very inexpensive way to provide some
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited.
required education, unlimited training for, what is it, $250 a year?
That can be done on duty, not
yeah.
requiring overtime. So,
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. And then you've got our Lassus fuel contract that we need to,
yeah, this, I'm trying to find it here, but the contract for the fuel, this was approved, and I don't have it.
September 6th.
The bids were taken on September 6th. The bid was approved on October 4th of 2019.
Yeah, 2019, but as we're getting closer closer to 2021, it was determined by the clerk's office that I didn't have the board actually sign the approval, because obviously,
Agreement.
we've went through this a few times. Each year, we come to the board to get the agreed upon price for that annual contract, but the paperwork hasn't had an opportunity to be drawn up yet, so I should have brought it to the board. But regardless, it was approved by the board, and we're going to need the board to sign off on the approval.
so this sets our rate in 2021 for regular 87 octane at $2.03, which we've talked about a lot in the past. This is something that we've been able to really hone in on our budgets, knowing that we've got a fixed price for fuel, and negotiating that early on. I think we've got a very reasonable price. So I don't know that we even need to vote on this, other than we just need to sign this. Is that correct? It's already been approved.
Correct. It has been
Yeah.
approved, and just need the board to sign.
Okay. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. We'll take care of that.
Thanks.
So you're not going to do a motion on it
A motion to what?
to approve everything that's in the contract, which
I
might not
can
have been
move
in the
that
bid?
way.
I mean, it's been approved. If you prefer, I will. I don't,
It's gonna hurt to do it twice.
all right. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Good.
All right. Brian, got plan expansion claim approval?
Yeah,
And
the
this-
first one is for the ND grant. That's for the payroll.
Oversight.
auditing, oversight that they do and provide us the documentation.
All right. Any questions?
No, I move to accept.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. And then item 10 would be the plan expansion project. Again, this is another claim, SRF loan, pay number 80 for $310.
Yeah, the dollar amount's pretty low for the project, but it's for the asset management plan we have to provide at the end of the project to SRF. It's part of the requirements to the SRF loan. So this is Wessler just working on preparing that for us.
Okay,
I move to approve.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 11, again, this is a small amount to Wessler Engineering for the sewer rehab project.
Yes. The majority of this one was for, we had to do a bore under US 30, and so we're required to do some monitoring that no settling's occurring along that bore in US 30. So the majority of this claim, that's what that's for. That was almost $2,000 of this claim was for that monitoring report.
Questions?
I move to accept.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
All right, I think that's it. And Jennifer, you've got an elevator contract renewal that I assume is a requirement, regulatory requirement.
So the.
You're not Jennifer.
I'm not.
Hi,
I'm
Whitney.
stand-in. Hi. So the elevator agreement is for the annual. They service us monthly, but they make us pay for everything annually. So this is just the renewal for 2021.
All right,
I move to accept.
I will second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, and you're going to present her wage report?
She has new hire report as
Yep.
well. Yep. We have a handful of new hire report or new hires in fire department as well as street department, and then some promotions within police department. That press release is coming soon for. And one replacement for a board member on planning commission.
Okay,
I move to accept all as presented.
all right, I will second. Any further discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thanks,
Thank you.
Whitney, appreciate it. All right, any special claims, Lynn?
No, sir.
All right, so then we'll move to the claims docket, of which there is one. Monthly register. Any questions, Jeff?
No.
Okay.
I move to accept as presented.
I will second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Any other items to be brought to the board this morning? All right. Any comments or questions from our visitors? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Second, thank you.
May I shut this off now?
Yes, sir.
Is it this one right here, Lynn?
Yep.
This is both you and Jill.